Hello guys, it's me Simo Orahara, and in this video we'll talk about Ukitake and how Mimihagi changed his life. What made me want to talk about this topic again is the new information that we have seen in Yhwach's flashback with Ichibi, and how the king's left hand passed to Yhwach and became one of his followers. So first of all, I always thought that the right and the left hands came down from the royal palace a long time ago. And the reason that made me think this was the idea that when Ichibi talked about the story of dividing the ancient world of Bleach and sailed Ryo and cut off his limbs. And it seemed like it happened a long time ago. I mean, I might say shortly after the formation of the new worlds, where the ancestors removed the right and the left hands and then the rest of the organs, meaning we might understand from Ichibi's words these parts were originally in the possession of the nobles and no one else. And as we know, the nobles live inside the Serich in the Soul Society. Therefore, based on these ideas, I believe that the right and the left hands and the rest of the organs were in the Soul Society in the possession of the nobles. But Ichibi's flashback changed everything. It seems that the most of the events that has something to do with the story only occurred 1000 years ago, such as the first war that took place between Yhwach and Yamamoto, and also the meeting between Ichibi and Yhwach, there where we saw the shocking truth about the left hand. As we have witnessed, it was with Ichibi, and perhaps even the right hand, Mimihagi, was with Ichibi. That's why we need a flashback that talks about Mimihagi and how exactly it was moved from the Royal Palace to the Soul Society in the Sakahoni area. And therefore what I'm thinking now is that Mimihagi may have descended from the Royal Palace after the left hand became with Yhwach. It is true that Ukitake said that the right hand descended to the Soul Society a long time ago. But if we saw a similar example of Yamamoto with Kyoraku when he was young, when he asked him about the man in the picture and he meant Yamamoto's Bankai, Yamamoto said that this is a monster that appeared a long time ago in the Soul Society. And there is no doubt that Yamamoto meant the war that took place between Yamamoto and Yhwach 1000 years ago. And therefore, if we say that Ukitake and Kyoraku are of the same age, there is no doubt that they were born sometime after the first Quincy War. And based on this, it is possible that Mimihagi may have fallen from the Royal Palace after the meeting that took place between Yhwach and Ichibi, because as many have noticed, when Ichibi blocked the girl's attack, he used a method similar to Okitake's Zanpakuto. He first blocked the attack in a way that made those Reishi shots like they were in a stagnation mode. And this is almost similar to the concept of the right hand's ability, the stagnation. Then Ichibi made those attacks bounce back on the rest of the soldiers. And this is also the same technique of Okitake's Zanpakuto, reflecting the opponent's attack. Therefore, it can be said that Mimihagi changed Okitake's life through two important things. The first of which is that Mimihagi saved his death. Ukitake would have died when he was 3 years old. However, Mimihagi protected him by taking all of his organs except his eyes. And through that, Mimihagi removed the deadly effects of the disease, which made Ukitake continue to live with some minor effects. And the second thing is that Mimihagi was the main reason for the formation of Okitake's unique Zanpakuto. And as Kyoraku mentioned in the novel, the reason why Ukitake has two swords is the presence of Mimihagi inside him. And another thing I would like to point out is Okitake's strength in terms of Ryatsu. Nanao mentioned that Okitake's Ryatsu is considered the strongest among the captains, and that was the main reason for keeping the side effects of his illness to the minimum. And here I wonder if it is possible that Mimihagi could choose the young Okitake deliberately because it saw in him a soul with great spiritual power, and so it decided to accept him with his sacrifice. Because the matter seems somewhat similar to what happened with Ichigo when he wanted to pass the Erazo Sando. So the idea was whether Ichigo would be able to be a vassal for Ryu's power. And from what Ichibi said, whoever is not able to do that will die or something like that. And if we go back to Ukitake, he talked about how he would take Ryu's place, so that by using Mimihagi, he would compensate for Ryu's presence. And for this reason, Ukitake, who should have died when he was 3 years old, Mimihagi not only extended his life, but also connected him to Ryu. That's why I wonder, did Mimihagi also make Ukitake see the memories of Ryu and the ancestors as Yhwach saw them with his left hand? My personal opinion is that Ukitake must have known these facts through Mimihagi. It is possible that he knew that a day would come when he would have to sacrifice himself for Ryo, because Ryo is responsible for his survival, since Mimihagi is just a part of Ryo. For all of this, I hope that Kobo will expand a little bit on the topic of Mimihagi and Ukitake, because all this great background about Ukitake shouldn't be wasted by that sacrifice that we have seen in the manga. In the manga, Ukitake removed Mimihagi from his body in order to protect Ryo and the worlds. But at the same time, that sacrifice didn't last for a long time until Yhwach returned to Ryo and absorbed Ryo and Mimihagi also. Therefore, what Ukitake did was essentially in the interest and the benefits of Yhwach, because it only made him stronger. For this, I think that one of the possible additions that could erase this problem is for Kobo to expand on Ukitake's flashback. The flashback in the manga was only about 1 page. Therefore, if Kobo talked about the real reason that made Mimihagi fall and also the Ukitake series memory as well, this would be a good thing. As for writing a completely new fight for Ukitake where he uses Bankai, as I said, I find this matter difficult, but it may be possible in one case, which is as follows. We all know that Ukitake will begin the ritual of removing Mimihagi from his body as soon as Ichigo cuts Ryo. But before this event, several other events occurred, including Yhwach's defeat of Ichibi and Yhwach stabbing Ryo in his first fight with Ichigo. Therefore, I find that if there is going to be a fight for Ukitake, it could be in the period of time between Yhwach stabbing Ryo and Ichigo catching Ryo. So in that place where we can talk about a fight for Ukitake. The problem here remains who might fight, because this is the main problem that I see is very present in the third core. The Shinigami sides have many characters, but coincidentally there are only 7 strong characters and all of them are present in the Royal Palace. As for the rest who are in the Soul Society and who survived from the Auswählen, they already lost a great power, which is the Wall Standing. So even if Ukitake had the time to fight, I don't find a suitable person to fight Ukitake and use his Bankai against him. And speaking of the Bankai, as long as Mimihagi had an effect on the Shikai, certainly it would have an effect on the Bankai also. Unfortunately, as I said, it is difficult to see the Bankai in the absence of a large number of strong opponents in the Soul Society, as well as Ukitake's connection to the topic of Mimihagi and his sacrifice. So guys, what do you think about Ukitake and Mimihagi? And are we gonna see some additions about this topic? And also maybe the Bankai? Tell me in the comments and see you guys in my next video.